Starting the local recording and Audacity. All right.
Okay, great. We'll just do a quick, tight hour show. That way Andre can be asleep before 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always works.
We can do that.
We only have 5 guests.
Boy,
I just have to talk about Pokemon. I don't have a lot of stuff.
I can cut my Crisis Protocol talk. It's not that important.
45, 50?
Let's go 50.
50.
Can limber up.
Perfect. Okay.
Nailed it. All right.
That show is so annoying. But it's all right. I don't know. Have you watched it, Andre?
What?
Nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying, but good.
Yeah, it makes Karen laugh.
There's a new level in Human Fall Flat.
Karen also laughed a lot at the spreading that guy's butthole. So
that's because it's funny. Make no mistake, Karen has good taste in humor.
You know, there's Japanese humor is very different from American humor.
I was very excited to be able to share the images of the guy standing on a table talking about how he was going to poop his pants in my role-playing game, my pen and paper RPG chat. When we were playing, we were in the middle of resolving a major combat encounter, and I put those images in the chat, and it derailed the entire session.
That's good. Did it have the one where he says he's going to write the Amazon in poop?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
I love it.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we? To get y'all up on my screen. Okay, there we go.
Hey.
Hello and welcome to Gaming Fyx episode 98 on this November 30th, 2019. I am your host, Andre Cole, with you as always. Today, I have a question for my co-hosts. How much money have I spent on League of Legends?
Ooh,
Alex.
do some math.
Ooh.
How much money do you believe I have spent on League of Legends?
$69.420.
Okay. Okay. Pat,
that's
how much money?
$73.20.
It is.
That is tough because if you, I'm gonna guess around $580.
Okay, Allison.
I'm going to just guess a nice $420.
Okay.
My
Sam.
answer is real. Based on actual data.
Hey, mine might still be the closest, especially if we're doing Price is Right rules.
Yeah, if we're doing Price is Right rules, I'm going to go for $369 because then I get everything from the low to $369.
Well, I do have to say,
that's not Price is Right rules.
if Price is Right rules,
it's me.
Alex is the winner.
Hey.
For how much? What?
I
what was
spent
guess?
$69.420.
$73.20.
Yes.
My actual spent money on League of Legends is
Actual
$330 US.
Well, no, then
What?
that means Allison is the close.
No,
Well,
it's about who's
Price is Right is
got it.
Yeah, the
That's
under.
going over.
9 skins for that little money, and that
Some of them are free. Get them on sale.
Does that count?
I don't know.
Skins?
That's just what the tool on the website told me.
That's so weird because that's what I was basing my information off of. Because the skins on average are around $10 ish,
Yeah,
$5 to $10.
I don't know.
So even if you factor in sale prices, like you have some mythic, you have a mythic. So like your account's probably valued at around $1,000.
Oh, probably. I've got
At
like
least.
limited
Oh,
edition.
that's
I've got like
that's like looking at a
I'm not
Steam.
talking about-
a Steam
nobody
profile.
steal my account.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the amount of money if you broke out what you have purchased and paid full price for everything. It's probably at least $1,000. I'm not talking about the value because of limited edition shit. I'm saying like if you look at the number of skins and champions you have,
Maybe.
and then bear out those to full price, you're well over $1,000.
Yeah,
But
that's just like a Steam account.
that is what the Riot website told me I had spent.
League shit doesn't go on sale the way Steam shit does. It does go on sale, but
They constantly on sale. But
yes, they're constantly
I've
sale for
bought some
about half
expensive
off.
stuff for that game.
But for what
Yeah.
it's worth, 69 420's never done me wrong.
It's true. It's true, and it never will. But yeah, big.
What I'm saying is, you got some generous friends.
Got
Got a lot of skin gifts.
But
that's a weird
Yeah.
out of context. Not a
I'm
lot
glad
of
that
skin.
someone-
They're
gifts.
they're
I'm glad
showing
that-
us some skin.
Oh, see, that's not what I was thinking
No,
of.
I was
like,
thinking that
literally,
they purchased flesh for me.
I
Yeah.
regret this already.
like, here, have some skin, and it's like, where did you get that? That's creepy.
Riot Games sold it to me.
Wait, so if someone were to hand you a skin in real life, what form would it take? Would it be like folded like a blanket, or would it be like kind of like a jacket?
Also, people
It
hand
would be in a
skin all the
box,
time.
like, of course.
There's skin, like clothes are made of skin all the time. Like,
Oh, sure,
Yeah, we-
sure, that's fair. I'm thinking.
Now, if
human,
you
I'm
said-
thinking human
Oh,
skin.
yeah, I was 100% thinking just like plain.
I wasn't
skin.
thinking exclusively humans, because I also am thinking in the context of League of Legends, and there's a lot of different kinds of creatures in League of Legends. It's not just humans.
All right, Pat, I just got you a human skin. What does that look like to you?
Well, I would assume that it's like you were saying, it's probably folded. Actually, you know what? I bet it's not. Is it cured, or does it just like fresh off the?
Is it a palette swap? Is it a?
No, I'm
Is there like
imagining-
really
is it a
again.
new? Is there like a whole new rig with like new animations?
No,
I'm
thinking
imagining
literally, is it
blue
like-
jeans and a polo shirt.
Did you just slice it off of an arm, or is it like? Because if you just sliced it off of an arm and haven't done any work to it, it's not folding. It's
like
going to
skin
be
chips.
It's kind of. It's going to be
Just
kind of
like-
flapping and gross, like especially gross. The concept is gross by itself, and if it's fresh off the bone, that's nasty, and I don't want it.
Episode
So what's
98.
everyone been playing?
There's a lot of things. I personally am in the final like story dump cutscenes of Death Stranding. Like,
So hopefully you'll be able to finish it by game of the year.
we'll see.
There's probably a good 6 hours left.
Yep.
I hear 2 full hours after the credits.
That was my guess.
I have heard there are more than 2 credit sequences. So
Yes, I have
What?
seen one of them. That's a
Ah,
classic Kojima.
It's the Metal Gear Solid 5 thing.
yeah, that's not even a spoiler because it is kind
Or
of
like Metal Gear 4.
Also that.
So yeah, well, I guess we can dive into Death Stranding for now. It's been a little while since we've actually talked about it. Yeah, I still have really enjoyed my time with that game. I think, in spite of itself at times, its story is constantly like, maybe not its story, but it's like the acting is constantly trying to break the fourth wall, and like the directing of it is, which kind of takes away from a lot of the moments. Like there's a moment where kind of out of character, Sam, Norman Reedus, the main character, kind of is like leaving a room, and then he runs over to like a gramophone and like does some DJ scratching on it for no reason, and then he just runs out of the room. It's like, why did he do that?
because
That's
it
so
was
dumb.
what Norman Reedus probably actually did.
Yeah, I mean that's what he just like improv'd it in the studio or whatever. But then there's another character who, through your conversations, he's constantly giving you a thumbs up, and then it's like, oh, you got 20 likes from this character. And then like in their conversation, he says something wrong, and it's like 20 likes subtracted from this character. And it's just like, why are we doing this? And like when they give thumbs up, like little hearts come off their thumbs. I'm like, what is
What?
okay?
I mean, I'm not surprised. that
Like,
there's-
it's just like, because it's during like these story dump moments where they're trying to be very serious and talk about what the Death Stranding is and all that, and then they're just like hearts, likes, thumbs up, and it's a little annoying and heavy-handed. But it wouldn't be Kojima if it wasn't annoying and heavy-handed at times.
Didn't you, I think it was you who mentioned that Guillermo del Toro's character mentions like by name The Shape of Water?
Oh yes, literally. He's like in an email or in an interview. It's not directly to you, but it's like in a conversation he had with someone. He's like, "Oh, have you seen The Shape of Water? It's like this concept I'm talking about."
I mean, we gotta talk about this whole. You gotta listen to this entire sentence. When you poop, you get an advertisement for Norman Reedus's AMC television show about motorcycles, where a mascot is riding on the back of a motorcycle with him, and it does a cranking it noise as you are pooping.
Yep.
So
what's a cranking it noise?
You know, like a motorcycle, like you crank it, like
crank it the throttle.
Yeah, he's not masturbating.
Not one of these.
When you say cranking it, I'm thinking of something else.
Frankly, yeah, I had a very specific, like, oh, what are we doing here?
Like, oh, Norman. I think hello.
That's I'm not kidding.
That might be the joke, yeah.
Speaking of cranking it,
he may also be pooping, but
I don't think a game has allowed. I think, oh my god, Death Stranding out Skyrim's Skyrim when it comes to Skyriming your way up a mountain.
I mean, that's the whole game.
But no, I mean, you
like
get you like specifically like, you know, you get on like a horse in Skyrim and you go up a mountain and it's like real janky and weird and like you're doing stuff you're not supposed to. That's been like half of my experience with like the latter half of the game, going up mountains in trucks that I should not be driving.
Yeah.
No, it's not even about the snow though. Like the snow makes like certain things harder, but just the physics are no good for vehicles on a mountain.
I think that's part of, for me, what I have done of vehicle mountain riding, which is a little bit enough to see where it would go. Yeah. That's kind of the point. Like it feels like I don't think it was the point in terms of like, I don't think it's intentional design, but I also think that that's part of what makes the game enjoyable. Is like, I can totally get this motorcycle in between those two lines, and it takes around a bunch. But
yeah, I know. Yeah. So the thing is, so like I've been using trucks, and like you can get up these mountains, but then sometimes they go sideways, and they go progressively more sideways, and then they shoot off and like, you know, 90 degrees from where you want to go really fast, and you can't stop them for some reason, and then you go like tumbling down the mountain, and you're like, I hit the brakes. Why didn't you brake?
Have you driven a truck up a mountain?
Oh, absolutely, many times. That has been, you know, I owned a truck, and then, but that's rest in peace, Ted.
That's Oregon, baby. I guess. Yeah, I've never been,
but like
not like this.
It was. It was
less timeful in Oregon.
So yeah, that has been really interesting and fun to like mess around with, but also like, Jesus Christ, I just want to get up this hill, but I can't get my car to go straight. It just like twists and turns.
I think I'm gonna go get a PS4 Pro tomorrow and then play the rest of the game on that.
It's. I would say, besides my like reservations, the story is much more enjoyable for me than like Metal Gear Solid 5, which basically didn't have a story, so I don't even know if that says much. It's cool to see Kojima doing something new. I think some of the criticisms of the writing, I think were a little extreme, specifically from like the Giant Bomb folks. There are some absolutely terrible lines.
Sure.
I don't know if like,
I don't want to know this. I don't want to know the line. I'm still.
It's oh man, why?
Because I want to know it.
And again, it falls into that like fourth wall breaking thing that like this game keeps doing. That is,
which admittedly isn't my favorite, but whatever.
Like it's detrimental and doesn't make any sense really for why they would have the point of reference that they're using. Anyway, yeah. Death Stranding, it's that game all the way through. I thought I kind of heard that like in the last bit it changes, like in the latter parts, but it doesn't really change that much. I will say what I believe is the final boss fight is bad. And it should have been changed with the boss fight before it, but
the first boss fight is bad, so
yeah.
I assume the boss fights are all kind of bad.
Kojima is still trading on a lot of the same imagery that he was trading on in like the Metal Gear series, which is interesting. Like the things that he is holding on to. I don't know. It's Kojima game for sure, and I've enjoyed my time with it. I'm looking forward to seeing the finale as I get to the end. been a good time.
Yeah, that's cool. I will get. I'm kind of, to be honest with you, I am. The PS4 Pro thing. I found out that my launch PS4 is apparently worth an ungodly amount of money in the local game store, which is like
$69.420.
Almost increase that amount by about $100, and then you're at where
what?
Oh.
I almost think that she lied to me, but I'm not positive.
Well, they usually do, like around this time. They often do enhanced trade-in value or whatever.
Yeah, and that could be what it was. I also will say that it's a local game store, and they only have one used PS4 on the shelf. So, and it was also a launch model. So it's possible that they're just trying to get some inventory of used systems. I don't know. Anyway, so I can get like a new PS4 Pro for around $150, which makes it worth it to me, even though I'm like 10 games on it.
Do it.
Yeah.
It would be the bad influence.
I have to.
I've already done it. I already told him to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have to.
We'll be the joint bad influence of like, do it.
The only thing I forgot to ask them is if the fact that it doesn't have warranty stickers on mine is a problem, because I opened it up to clean it.
It's
a local
old enough,
shop,
and they'll probably open it themselves.
Yeah, that's my thinking. They do service them there, so the only
check it, see if it works.
The only thing is that it could be a problem is if they are a like official Sony repair shop.
But those things were, the right to repair stuff was passed, and those stickers are illegal now.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, it wouldn't matter at all. I was just thinking that you can get that like PS4 protection plan thing that you spend money on. That's like the extended warranty. Maybe the sticker's voided, but
I bet you have to send it to Sony for that anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm probably gonna do that because I kind of want to like just meander through Death Stranding. I actually find it really rewarding to up the star levels and unlock the new shit, even when it's really underwhelming in terms of what it actually does. I'm kind of like pushing to unlock the ability to craft my truck, and then once I get that, I'm just
that's a game changer.
Yeah. So once I get that, I know I'm close to that now. So once I get that, I'm just gonna do some delivering, and then if I a game of the year, that's fine, because I know I like it a whole bunch, and I will probably stand by wherever everybody else falls on it.
I would say that once you get the truck, that game like becomes a lot more fun and goofy and interesting, just to like get around the world, because like the bikes are such a pain in the ass. So like when you're able to carry like 600 kilograms of stuff around, then you're like, oh yes, there we go.
Okay, I'm editing this part out of the podcast, but Sam, you need to mute your mic.
I'm sorry.
Like it is extraordinarily loud.
It's like
yeah.
It's basically like,
but like way louder because it's super fucking distorted.
Oh,
I think it's the trackpad. I think it's when you touch the trackpad, it's like sending a vibration up through it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I will just stop using my computer.
It hasn't been like upsetting or anything. It's just
it's just like super loud.
Podcast audio.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's only on his end too. So
yeah, I mean, I can just very heavily edit your mic part.
Yeah,
he hasn't been talking much. So
I haven't spoken through this section, so we're good.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm
just writing down the timestamps where I need to edit out. So that's to 45.
I also accidentally boffed the microphone as well, so probably good to cut me completely for that section.
Okay, so let's say to 50. Okay, yeah, we can get back into it whenever.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So that's Death Stranding. Allison.
Yes.
I hear you've been on the hunt.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's not the only thing I've been doing with Pokemon Sword and Shield lately. I finished all the gyms. I haven't beaten the champion yet, but I've beaten all the gyms. I've done a lot of the stuff. I'm at the final city, which is extremely London, which has been fun. Some of those cities, they are very, very heavily inspired by very specific places in the UK, which is exciting. Like Chichester is 100% Bath, and I was just like, oh, it's Bath. And when you get to Wyndon, which is obviously London, you're just like, oh, okay, I've been there. So it was very, very cute because of how much they took from it. But anywho, besides all that, I decided I was decided, okay, I'm not going to beat the final boss right now, or the final stuff right now and get into the post game. I'm going to go get a shiny Wooloo, which was not the right decision. Maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Abba Black Sheep, have you any shinies?
Okay, that's why I wanted. So cute.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to find out how many times I've battled Wooloo. Pull up. Oh, I fell asleep during my last battle with Wooloo because it just popped up. But anyways, so basically the one thing with Pokemon with shinies, there are two ways that you can increase, like if you're hunting them in the wild, like increase your odds. You can get the shiny charm, which I'm going to get eventually, which you get after you complete the Pokedex. Or you can, in addition to that, you battle Pokemon a certain number of times, and that increases your odds. They actually put this all on the Pokemon website, which is interesting. But basically, 500 battles with a single type of Pokemon maxes out the number of your shiny odds. So I went to Route 1 and I battled a bunch of Wooloo, and I want to get that shiny Wooloo. I have not seen that shiny Wooloo. I have battled 975 Wooloo.
God. Why?
I've battled 975 Wooloo.
Only 25 more to 1,000.
Earlier yesterday when you showed us, it was only in the
560 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
That's
Did you sleep?
Well, okay, so I was the thing that's nice about shiny hunting like this is that it's really easy to multitask while you're doing it. So I watched a couple of movies last night, and I was like barely paying attention to my Pokemon. I was just watching the movies and also doing shiny hunting while I was watching a movie. So
What if you, while not paying attention to the game, you accidentally passed over a shiny? What if you found a shiny and
I think that's impossible.
Like, what if it was a shiny not Wooloo?
Well, one of the things that is in Pokemon Sword and Shield is that you have your league card. And on the back of your league card, it says how many shiny Pokemon you found. And I've been updating mine, and mine still says 0. So.
Oh, it actually tracks how many shinies you've encountered or like had potential to encounter. Oh, okay, cool.
How many shinies you've encountered. And I had that exact same thought of like, oh my God, what if I ran into a shiny? So I went and updated my league card and it still says 0. So I have not seen any shinies despite nearly 975 Wooloo. Yeah. The counter stops at 999. So after that, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping count. We'll see.
Dude,
it's gotten to sunk cost fallacy levels right now, where I'm like, I've spent multiple hours trying to get this shiny Wooloo, so I want it. But at the same time, I'm like, I'd like to play other parts of Pokemon too. So, so I am like, just give me the shiny Wooloo game. I want it, and now I think I'm this might be my only shiny hunt before I go complete that Pokedex. So, I have about 200 Pokemon in my Pokedex, so I have 200 more to go.
Oof-a-doof. That.
Yep.
That.
But when I have that like special Wooloo that's a different color from normal Wooloo, you guys will all understand. Not really, but
I will tell you that I am still enjoying playing Pokemon, and I will continue to play it. At the same time, what you have experienced with this experience is telling me that maybe I don't want to get deep into Pokemon.
Well, okay, so this is just specific shiny hunting, and to be fair, like it's really once you hit 500, the odds aren't going to increase. I'm just at that point where I don't want to leave Route 1 without having something to show for it.
Yeah, I get it.
And so you get to that point where you're just like, God damn it, I don't want to like stop doing this after like not getting it.
You've got a trail of 900 and something dead Wooloo behind you.
I've slaughtered so many Wooloo. Sorry to the Wooloo population of Galar, but they're...
I mean, I hear they're like rats there.
Yeah. That's New Zealand. That's New Zealand.
Wooloo, I actually found out that a YouTuber I sometimes watch, Jay Witz, he apparently did the exact same thing as me. Except at the start of his game instead of like midway through for my game.
If your friend jumped off a bridge, would you do that too?
If a YouTuber jumped off a bridge, would you do that too?
See, I didn't know that he did that until I was like midway through, and I was like,
just kidding.
Legit. But apparently in Route 1, Wooloo have a spawn chance of 15%. So they're not that common.
So 15%, and then what is shiny spawn rate? 1 point something percent?
Okay, let me find them shiny odds.
It's like 1 in 600 or something.
Oh, it's 1 in 4086.
Yeah, but you can increase it like, but with 500, I get, let's see.
So you've only got to like do what you've done like 4 more times, Allison.
Yeah. So since I don't have the shiny charm, it should be still like 1 in something like mid 500s or mid 600s, or I don't know. God. I don't know. I maybe nobody knows the exact odds. It's just a lot, and I just want it. So
hey, I will tell a story shortly about the lengths that I'm willing to go to get every chest in Fallen Order, which is probably less rewarding than getting shiny Pokemon, and I'm still doing it, so I understand.
Well, before we get to that, I do want to hear from Sam's quest to become a Pokedex master, and
so what it's called.
And he's back.
You were so close. Also, Sam's back. Yeah,
he wants to have the best Pokedex like no one ever has.
Yeah,
to dex them is his real quest. To poke them is his cause.
Oh,
hell yeah!
Tell us about Dexter.
All right, Sam. Crank it, Sam. Let's do this.
Okay, so Dexter was a crime drama in the mid 2000s starring
that show was good until it was bad.
That show was good for like 8 episodes, and then it was trash for the rest of its run.
There were
hot takes.
Trash.
What? No, that first episode is amazing.
Yeah, the first several episodes are very good.
Then the last season was good for like 6 episodes, and then they fucked it up.
Then it's like, oh, my dad's a serial killer, and also my uncle's a serial killer, and my brother's a serial killer, and we're all actually serial killers, and some of us do it for the right reasons and some of us do it for the wrong reasons, but we all kill people.
Pokemon.
Dexter Jetster is a character in Star Wars Episode 2.
Dexter Jetster is better than the entirety of Dexter the television.
I love Dexter Jetster. He is one of the best parts of Episode 2.
I would argue he's one of the only good parts of Episode 2.
Omelette du fromage.
It's Dexter Jetster and Christopher Lee's lightsaber.
So
Christopher Lee in general.
28 Pokemon in Pokemon Shield. I have pretty much all the rare spawn Pokemon. I'm now mopping up the ones that I missed during the campaign. So like, I never caught a Togepi. So I'm just trying to find Togepis in the wild area. A lot of the time I'm catching the evolved version of something in the wild area and then breeding it to get the little one.
That's fun though.
Yeah, that is fun.
Breed for my Pokedex.
We determined that they don't do the nasty. They like touch their hands. No, there's a thing in the anime, I'm positive, and I asked Allison if she thought this was a thing, and we came to the conclusion that it probably was, where they like touch their hands together and then the egg comes open.
You're gonna tell me that they have a gun, that a man will point a gun in Ash Ketchum's face, but they don't have Pokemon.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say right now is, if the Pokemon is
America.
Pokemon is messed up. Like, I'm willing to look past the dog fighting, I'm willing to look fast to like animal catching. If you're also making them breed, Pokemon is capital P problematic.
Classic American. Okay with the violence, but as soon as you bring sex into it, you're just ooh.
How would Trubbish do it?
Oh no! Don't.
How wouldn't Trubbish do it?
They open the bag and they just sort.
If my Pokemon wants to fall in love with each other and want to copulate, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's the notion that you're forcing them to have sex with each other to pop out eggs is
forcing anybody to do anything. You put them in the daycare.
What happens.
They always come out with eggs. There's forcing happening.
They're animals. That's what they do.
By the way, Sam,
we went over this.
Did we?
Yes, we had a long conversation that made me very upset, and now we're having another one. Pokemon has caused me more pain this year than most things.
By the way, Sam, I do have a Togetic.
You've had a pretty good year, then, I'd say.
I can get you a Togepi.
And you can hook them up.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm fairly certain I have every exclusive Shield Pokemon. And I also think I have some of the really weird rare spawns, like Dreepy, which took me about 45 minutes to catch.
Sorry, Dreepy?
Yep. He's a small little dragon man with a triangle for a head. And then the second version of Dreepy is a bigger version of Dreepy with a Dreepy around its neck.
Whoa.
And then the third version of Dreepy is a giant
bigger Dreepy.
Yeah, it's a giant one with guns on its head, and the guns have Dreepies in them that he fires like missiles.
Okay.
You think they're running out of ideas for Pokemon?
I am going to keep playing the game.
I don't think they're running out of ideas.
I have a Dreepy because like the surprise trait is like overwhelmed with Dreepies.
It's probably because it's insanely rare.
Are they like the Tribbles of that world or something?
No, they're rare.
Oh,
the opposite. But when you've got, however many people owning the game, then they can all just...
The Tribbles are like the fucking squirrels that come after you when you shake
this man Skwovet. God, that guy needs to get out of here.
If you shake the trees, if you watch how they vibrate after you stop shaking them, that can tell you when to stop. So I haven't got hit by a Skwovet in like 30
It's only
hours.
happened to me once, but I didn't know that.
I haven't, but like shiny Skwovet is really good, so I am tempted.
Look, we recognize your problem, Allison, even if you...
It's so cute, though.
I have a shiny Magikarp, which evolved into a shiny Gyarados.
That's good.
I caught him while fishing for, I think it's called Feeble.
Feebas?
Not to get back on my old man shit, but back in my day in Gold and Silver, you got a red Gyarados and you were happy, and there was none of this. I need to kill 900 Wooloo to get a shiny one.
Sorry, sacrifice.
Yeah, that's actually what's going on.
Oh.
It's like when it's like in shit, what game does it? Where when you attack enough of a thing, a giant one comes out and tries to kill you.
Oh,
damn it.
The chickens.
There's a lot of those games. The Witcher does something like that.
That's
Witcher 3.
one of them. Maybe it's, I don't know. Anyway, the most important thing that I don't think we've talked about is that there's a Pokemon called Milcery that is a cream Pokemon, and what the fuck?
Oh yeah, the way you evolve it is really weird.
The way you evolve it is by spinning around. So you're whipping the cream. And the evolved version is called Al Creamy, and it's just a pile of whipped cream.
See, that shit is transcendent.
I want Rainbow Al Creamy, so I need to find a time when it's all...
I got an apple that turned into a dragon.
That stuff is good. That is the good parts of this game.
I've got the tortoise.
And then I'm going to put them in the daycare.
Oh, see, that's another
Ditto.
Form that we have different forms that we'll need to switch around. Or
I have
send.
I have interesting thoughts about Pokemon because interesting to me. I don't expect them to be interesting to anybody else, but because there's a lot of bullshit in Pokemon Sword and Shield that I think is like not needed. Like the part where there's a story. Like a lot of that stuff is not great in my opinion.
It's not very
good. But like
people like it because you like
going.
That's
I like the story because it's not good, but I'm like, it's very comforting.
Look, I get it. I like Skyrim's story. Skyrim's story is garbage, and I think that it's enjoyable because I like the setting and the characters and stuff.
Sword and Shield is not a good Pokemon story by the standards.
Oh, no.
Of the other
The worst
games.
one I've played.
Yeah,
It's a bad one, but like I like it.
What's a good Pokemon story?
Black
X and Y was good, wasn't it?
Actually, X and Y was pretty good. Yeah,
I don't even remember it, honestly.
like me
Black
neither,
and White's
but
the one
like
where they like go like, hey, should you be catching Pokemon?
yeah, that one's good too.
and like they just usually there's like some like build up to things, and like they kind of more gradually kind of let you know what's going on. But in this one, it's just you get to the end, it's like, and all the stories still gonna happen right now. And like there's like a few like little like, ooh, there's this legend on the way, but for the most part, everything just happens right at the end.
The good thing though is that it's short, and like I haven't put that much time into actually following the story, and I already feel like I am probably a good quarter of the way through it at least, and I've put like maybe a couple hours into going along. So it's relatively short and gets you to the part where you just play the end game stuff fast. And there's some fucking weird Pokemon in this game. That's the thing that I find the most entertaining.
That's the best part, is that you're just like, what the fuck? I gotta like whip up the whipped cream Pokemon? Okay.
I think minimum that story is 35 hours, by the way.
I did it in like 20. I did it in like really? 20. You're just slow.
Maybe I will not play more Pokemon if it's that long.
It took me 40 something.
It depends on how much time you spend catching Pokemon. Like if you're to catch everything like Sam wants to do, then
I'm not
it'll
counting
take longer,
time spent. I'm not counting time spent in the routes catching stuff. I'm talking about like the get from point A to point B.
You can zoom through that.
I have heard 12 hours if you just like
if you mainline it,
yeah.
But I'm talking about the game's called it's Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All.
I understand. You can spend like 1,000 hours in this game though.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will get to
if they wanted you to catch them all, they would have put them all in there, Sam. I'm sorry, but
damn, we have a secret Exeter on this cast.
I'm just I know again my biggest complaint is that they did all this work that 3D animations, movement animations, 3D space, and they won't follow me around in the overworld. No, oh my god, this is,
you know why?
This is unacceptable.
Because that game chugs like a motherfucker,
and because
or if you go online.
The other reason is it would confuse children. The Pokemon are in the world now. You see them running around. If you had a like Skwovet running around behind you, and then you saw a Skwovet in the world, and then you couldn't tell which was yours and which was, I mean, we would be able to tell, but children would be pissed that they couldn't.
Oh, you could just do the whole like, oh, you can't bring it out in the wild area for
that is children are smarter than that.
Sam, is your child smart enough to recognize which Skwovet is theirs and which one is in the tall grass?
Can Todd Howard tell his Skwovet apart from the wild?
Or I do, and you have the smartest baby ever born.
He knows everything. He just can't communicate.
Does little Todd Howard have Skwovet awareness?
Yes, Skwovet permanence.
He cries when you put his the cap things on his sleeves that turn sleeves into mittens.
I would also touch a Skwovet. I would 100%.
Where are my hands?
It's because he can't take the money from the Fallout 76 players anymore that way.
Yeah.
Also, because he can't see his fingers. How cool!
Yeah.
My fingers are gone.
If you were a baby, there would be like literally nothing cooler looking than holding your hand up to your face and moving your fingers. How fucking awesome is that? It's like you're a robot.
Yeah,
that's how babies work.
Low key, I still sometimes think that of like. So low key, you're just like, whoa, I can move that shit. That's cool.
It's
the level of my brain, you guys.
Okay, so imagine this. You look at the thing, and then you just kind of like you put your hand at it, and then the thing comes towards your hand. Like you've got there's some sort of force that
I figured. I was wondering what the
like I don't know, and then there's like some religion around using it.
I do now
called it like
force powers in Jedi Fallen Order.
It depends what order you do it in, though. And if the order has fallen.
God damn.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna
Tomorrow, Hussein,
I have to vent
Jedi falling over, and that made me fall.
Let me tell you, Jedi falling over is what happens a lot when you deal with the shitty platforming in this game.
Yep. I will say that it's very Uncharted-ish platforming in a lot of sections, but it doesn't do the Uncharted thing where it you die. It just kind of pops you back and it's like, oh, you lost a little bit.
That's why the shitty platforming doesn't really bother me that much. I don't know if it might still bother you, Alex, but if you fall off something, you take a tiny bit of damage and then you're back on the most recent platform that you had solid ground on. So it's actually pretty forgiving and not super frustrating. You also don't have to hold buttons at all whenever you're doing the platforming or climbing. You just push the button once to grab and then you're just on the thing. So
it was never clear about that, so I always held it because I'm I don't want to fall off.
Yeah, I got to the point where I had to trust the Force and just do it, and it works. You just have to hit it the one time. So I think it's better than Uncharted in some ways in that respect, and I think some of the stuff it does with the platforming is really interesting. I don't want to give the impression it's bad all the time, but it's so imprecise with the jumps.
Yep.
So, okay, this is what my whole story. I'm going to preface this with Fallen Order is probably going to be very high on my Game of the Year list. I think I love the combat, and I love the characters. I love the combat encounters that they set up, the design. I love the environments, and I love the collecting and the exploration. There's a lot of stuff that I really super love about the game. With that said, a lot of the character visuals suck ass in a way that I'm honestly kind of shocked at. The named characters that are on your ship and stuff are cool, and Saw Gerrera that certainly looks like Forrest Whitaker and stuff. There's some cool stuff, but and a lot of the creature enemies look amazing, but all of the basic resistance people that you encounter that are on your side look like shit. They look like early this gen characters.
I did not notice anything like that, but I was on the PC version. But also, It also
might be because I'm playing it in 4K that it makes the character textures look stretched. I don't know. They don't look good, and the Wookiees look like ass. I mean, Battlefront 2 Wookiees look about 1,000 times better, and they look at
they're made of the hair between someone's ass cheeks.
Yes, they're long and spindly in a terrible way. It's awful. They don't look good at all. Wow. They look stringy. But anyway, you don't see them that often.
You should hand them some skin.
Yeah, exactly. And also the voices are very good for them, and I still like Wookiees a lot, so it's fine. I think I'm more critical of that because I'm a Star Wars fan who has played a lot of Star Wars games and seen Wookiees done better in past games. I also think Battlefront 2 is a significantly better looking game overall, which is a little frustrating. With the exception,
Frostbite, that's what it does. It looks good and does shooters. But
all that said, some of the environments are stunning in Fallen Order, so I don't want to say the game is bad looking, because most of the stuff you're looking at, enemies and environments, look great. Even the stormtroopers and stuff, they look very good. So it's really just the generic people with faces. It looks like they didn't have time to make them to lovingly model them. So they would have almost been better if they had helmets on or something, because they all have dead-eyed stares, and they kind of just animate this where they don't really do anything.
Well, and all the main characters are actual actors.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And then in general, a lot of the animations for moving around are kind of really?
There are some really funny glitched out animations I got. I was running and I was like, okay, BD, hit me a stim, and I grabbed the stim, but then he just he got super straight back, and then his steps got really short, but he was still moving his feet really fast. But he's only moving them 2 inches at a time. There's what are you doing?
There's some weird attempts at procedural animation at certain times in those situations that doesn't really work. There's also a thing so there's tons of these chests around, and every single time you open a chest, it's Cal opens it, and then BD goes in it, and like Cal like goes whoa, and then the chest closes and it rattles around, and then BD pops out and he's got like a poncho for you, which is great. I enjoy that stuff, and I think I enjoy the cosmetics way more than Andre does.
I put on the second poncho I found, and I never took it off because all the others I found were boring.
Nah, I am always working on that drip. I've got like sometimes I'm like playing with BD's color palette, make sure BD and I match. It's good. I like the cosmetic shit in there, but there's a hilarious thing. I don't think it's a spoiler to say at all that you swim around in that game. That's, I think, a pretty safe thing to say. So there are points at which you can open chests in the water. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, like Cal's kind of like floating there. He opens the chest. He like does the thing where he like opens it and then it closes right away, as if BD jumped in it to shake it around. But BD doesn't jump in. He's still on your shoulders. There's no like in the water animation for BD jumping in the chest, but the chest still shakes around like there's something in it. And then it opens again and you get the skin or whatever. And again with the skin. And then Cal like still comments every time BD goes into a chest. He's always like, whoa, why you got to go in there? Or like, what's up with this, buddy? And like, you know what it is. He's going in there to get a poncho. We've done this 87 times, but he still talks to him in the water, but like you're in the water, you can't talk. He's like, it's all like muffled. It's all muffled. Like, mm-hmm. And I don't know. There's dumb shit like that in it, but also, I did a major boss fight last night that was really cool, and generally I like the story quite a bit. It's very stock standard Star Wars stuff, but I enjoy it. So I don't know, like there's dumb shit in there. The thing though, the thing that is actually frustrating to the point that I really hope this isn't something that pops up more than the one time it did last night. So I was in an area, the way that the game does a thing that I enjoy where it'll tell you like you've explored 80% of this planet and found 16 out of 20 chests. And then as you scroll around the map, you can see by area, oh, in this area, you've explored 100% of it and found 3 out of 4 chests. So I like it because it means that there's just like cool map clearing. One of my favorite things to do in video games is clear the map and see like 100% things. And I get that other people maybe don't find that fun. For me, that's like really, really, really cathartic. And it's why I like Assassin's Creed games so much, because I love the like clearing icons from the map. So I am kind of wanting to do that with this game and just try to 100% it. And I also happen to like the cosmetics and the lore you get from the chests and stuff you're scanning. So there is a section of the game, I'll be very vague so that it doesn't spoil it for anybody. There's a section of the game where there are multiple planets. That's not a spoiler at all. And you kind of are going back and forth between them.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Multiple planets?
Yes, I know. Wild. So you're kind of going back and forth between them. And there is one that is like pretty huge in terms of its area comparatively to the other areas in the game. It's not like it's an open world or anything, but it's pretty big. And that one is very much a world that reminds me of Dark Souls, in that there's a lot of like you're unlocking shortcuts to go back and forth between areas, and moving around it is generally pretty easy to do because there's so many like shortcuts and paths you can take. And once you've got all the like movement abilities, it's not quite like Spider-Man, but you're at a point where you're like, I'm gonna go, and you can just run past dudes and automatically block their blaster bolts, and then just like wall run on shit and grab a vine and go. So again, none of that is spoiler stuff. That is all very, very early. So anyway, there's one planet in the game though that has an area that is much more of a like you're going down a pretty linear path with some stuff to explore along the way, but it's not unlocking. You're not getting like shortcuts to go back to more of a hub area. So near the end of that environment, there was a spot where on my map, as I was picking through this, I was like, wow, I'm not getting shortcuts. I need to make sure that I am getting everything so I don't have to come back here. So then I hit a point where my map says like 77% explored, 0 out of 1 chests.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, I got to look for this thing. And then a story thing happened, and I was suddenly sliding and on this big, long, frankly bad sliding sequence, because a lot of those are bad, and got to the end. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened. It was really neat. And then it took me, after I finished all the story stuff, took me all the way back to the beginning of the area. And so like now right at the end of it, or 2/3 of the way through it, there's just like a chest in an area I haven't fully explored. So I was like, fuck, okay, I guess I got to pick back through here because there's no fast travel.
Yep.
So I got most of the way there, found a thing that is similar to fast travel. Again, I'm being vague. Hit it and was like, oh, great, maybe this will take me back to the area. Nope, it takes you back to the beginning of the zone. I don't know why you would need to go back there, hit the fast travel thing, and then be taken back to the beginning of the area. There's like no use case I can find for that. So whatever. I was like, fine, it only takes me like 10 minutes to pick through this if I run. Get back to where that fast travel point is, climb past it, get up the thing more, get to the point. Again, I'm like 2/3 of the way in, find the chest that I was looking for. Everything's good, 100% completed, all that shit. And then when I start to go back, I realize you cannot go backwards. The like part that like fast travels you back to the beginning of the area. And we're talking like 30% of the map of this planet. It's a big, long linear path. Right after you cross the threshold of where that fast travel that takes you back to the beginning is, you can no longer go backwards. You have to go all the way to the end of the area again, including doing the shitty sliding part again. And all the music plays at like full volume, like, oh, this is so exciting, but the story stuff isn't happening that accompanies it. So it's just like, I'm just out playing Sonic here because that's what it's like. That section is basically like the Sonic Adventure. There's literal bumpers and stuff that are shooting you around. It's bad. And so then I get to the end of it again, go back to the beginning, look in my codex, and I'm missing one Wookie culture entry. Normally, when you scan shit, that contributes to the percentage completion for the area. So I wasn't worried that I was missing anything because I was 100% in the areas. Turns out this one thing doesn't contribute to the percentage of the area. Guess where it is? Back at the end of that area again. So now if I want to get that 100% codex, I have to go back through this hell area where you can't travel backwards at a certain point. And it's just like half-hour runs through the area. And that shit is like, I am just shocked that no one said, hey, maybe we should put like 2 platforms here so you could run back from this spot to this spot.
Or
like it is like,
let people fast travel.
Yeah. And even that, I don't really care if there's, I mean, again, moving to stuff, I don't know. Or like put the big fast travel thing that it does have that lets you go back to the beginning of the area, put that after the point of no return instead of right before it. It's just like, I was sitting on the couch last night, like raging because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is awful. So anyway, there's some just garbage level design in terms of like playing it as a game where you collect shit that I think is egregious, but also like I think that, again, there's a lot of reasons why I really love that game, and I wouldn't be going back and doing this to myself if I didn't feel like there was a sense of accomplishment for me personally in finding it all. So it's still good, but if you're expecting something with the level design of Dark Souls for like the whole way through, it does not have that. It has like areas where it is very much like that, and then there's spots where it's like, you should play the area with a guide so you can get everything if you care. So that way you don't have to go back to it. Which is a little frustrating.
That's part of the reason I just mainlined the game, is because I didn't want to explore and then be like, oh, well, I can't go over there. So I have to go, I have to come back later. So I was like, I'm just going to mainline, get all the abilities, and then I'll explore as I come to things. And
I think for me, that would totally, I understand why you would do that. I also think though, like part of why I enjoy exploring is because you do get material ability, or not abilities, but you do get material increases in your strength through exploring that have been beneficial to me as I play through the content. I'm also playing on like the second to the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, I played the same way.
Yeah, and you're just better at these games than I am, I think, because like the boss fight that I did last night, I would not have been able to do that unless I had the number of stim packs that I have, which is one of the things you get from exploring.
I think I finished that game with 4 stim packs.
No, I have 7 at this point.
I found 1 until basically the second to last.
You were talking about that, and I think it's funny because I find them like not all the time, but I just get them a lot.
So yeah, I mentioned this in our chat, but like, so I just did the thing where I was like, okay, well, I think this is the way where the story is going to happen. So I'm going to explore this way, and then I explore that way, and then that's where the story is. I'm like, oh, well, there goes my exploration time. So then that just happened like every time. So I ended up not finding a lot of stuff.
No, I mean, that's my favorite part generally, is picking through the less linear area. I mean, again, linear, I don't want to imply it's like super, super open, because there's usually like 2 paths you can go down at any given time.
Yeah.
Like physically in the map.
Yeah.
But I enjoy all of the, like, if I got to a story thing, I would go, oh, nope. And I would go backwards and go the other way. So I'm enjoying picking through that stuff. I found it pretty rewarding. And again, I really like the combat. There is one interesting mechanic that I won't get into that I'm going to message you about, Andre, after you're up tomorrow. That was like, I did a thing, was like, oh shit, I got to rest. And then I did it. Then I went back to do it again and was like, oh, this is different now. And that was really cool. So like, there's a lot of new stuff in that game, but some of the level design is like, Respawn, what are you doing? Like, what? You're good at this.
Well, they're good at first-person shooters, but
yeah, but like, I guess in first-person shooters in Titanfall, you don't have to really go backwards at all. But like,
yeah,
no one in playtesting said, "Oh, it's weird that I can't go backwards in this area, and that there's no way to jump backwards off of a wall with grippy stuff." Like when you're holding on to like netting to climb something, you can only go forward. There is no way to go backwards once you've jumped on the thing. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
So anyway,
I feel like they mostly designed around that, but yeah, there is just some weird stuff like that.
Well, yeah, they designed around it if you're going forward through the environments, at which point it's cool. But the second you want to explore and go, oh, well, I spent 20 minutes running here, rather than spend another 30 minutes going down the rest of the path, I'm just going to run back. It's like, nope, play the whole area 4 times.
Speaking of playing a game like 4 times, Sam is still plugging away through Dragon Quest, which he played at one point, then stopped, and then played on a new console.
Yes, that is something I've played multiple times.
How's it going?
So I'm much, much further through the game now. There's kind of some interesting stuff happens in about the halfway point. So a lot of famous Square JRPG games like Chrono Trigger or like Final Fantasy VI have like and then the world ends and you have to like work out what to do from there. This has kind of one of those plot points. So I won't ruin what happens, but like
you said the Death Stranding happens.
Yeah,
you've got to unite the United Cities of America, make the Cairo network.
Yeah, and I did name my character Sam. So Sam,
same game.
America Strand, Quest, Dragon. So it's really good. Especially, I think I talked about this, but like Tim Rogers did 1 hour review of the original Dragon Quest XI on PS4, and he was like, this is how you should play it. You should play it like 45 minutes a day, and you should make sure you have auto battle on for everything except bosses. And that has made the game so much more fun because I can concentrate on like, playing tactically when I want to fight bosses, or just experiencing the story and the world and the characters when I'm not doing that. And of course, like, you can pop out and use stop auto battling and use like the standard turn-based combat anytime you like. But I think it's more fun for me to have them battle on auto based on the AI commands you give them. which aren't as good as like Final Fantasy 12 or something like that, but they are still very good. So I think definitely, having played a few Dragon Quest games, this is going to be the first one that I finish. And I think that this is also the best one that I've played, easily.
I would hope, since it's the one you plan to finish.
Yeah. Well, I'm finishing it because I'm reviewing it, so I would have to knuckle down. But I think I'm really close to the end now. The big kind of plot twist thing happened like 15 hours ago.
You're the one who just said it took you 35 hours to do the Pokemon story, though.
Yeah, but that's the only game where I think I've got over the time on how long to beat. Like, how long to beat, I literally, every time I beat it, or like get close to beating it, the average. I think
Which chapter? Which chapter are you on?
Beating it.
I think I'm in the second chapter.
In chapter
the third
2?
chapter is the end game.
What?
There's 3 chapters in Dragon Quest. There's chapter 1.
According to this
chapter 2 is
IGN,
the second half of the game, and the third is like the final.
According to this IGN wiki, there are 12 chapters.
I don't know what's going on there. I've never seen the words like I've never seen chapter come up at all.
Okay, that's
chapter 1 or chapter 2. No one has ever. It's never come up. But I think it's just because when the big plot twist happens, the world changes state. Mm-hmm. Like you lose all your fast travel points, and you have to you basically go around the same world again, doing new stuff.
And you deliver people's underwear to them, and
you deliver pizzas. It's a Papa John's simulator.
Man, that was...
How many pizzas do you eat in 30 days?
I think he's an amateur for only eating 40. And he doesn't say how big they are.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Maybe just 40 slices. That would.
He read a lot of books, and he got a lot of personal pan pizzas.
Yeah.
Calzones.
So many books.
40 personal pan pizzas. As someone who eats a lot of pizza, it's a lot of pizza.
I mean, it's not
but it's not 40 larges, 40 mediums.
If you eat a calzone, is that eating a whole pizza?
No.
Yes.
That's eating a calzone.
It's eating a calzone. Yes.
They're not called pizza calzones. They're called calzones.
Yeah, exactly. If you eat a bagel, that doesn't mean you ate a quarter of a loaf of bread.
You don't call a tostada a taco, but they're the same components.
But you don't call them, they're not this. There's plenty of foods that have the same components that are called different things.
Yeah. Like spaghetti and chili. Thing. Spaghetti bolognese and chili are like 90% the same thing. Just
but that's a spice thing and the spices. Method that's different.
The majority of the ingredients are the same. Anyway, so calzones aren't pizzas. Calzones are basically Cornish pasties.
Calzones are fine, but they're not pizzas.
But so you're basically it's basically like going to a Taco Bell where everything is exactly the same. It's just in different configurations.
Exactly. Okay. Now, if you this is where the argument gets. This is like the like it's a one-way door in that if you told me that a pizza is an open-faced calzone, I don't know. That sounds like a more compelling argument to me than that calzones are the same thing as
because the calzone isn't a sandwich. A calzone has no option to be open or closed. Like calzones.
Cut it open. Is a hot pocket a sandwich?
Like a sandwich is a door. A calzone is a wall. You can't open a calzone and it becomes an open calzone.
Sure you can.
It stops being a calzone. It becomes a pizza when you open it.
So they're the same thing.
No.
Okay. If I take so you can't take a cooked pizza and fold it and make it a calzone.
Exactly.
No, that's a folded pizza.
Because it's different. Pizza.
Yes.
I hate you.
No,
well, they're just different.
It has to be cooked.
They're just different foods. Exactly. A calzone is different because it's cooked with the bread folded over, so it's got different consistency to the dough and like the ingredients on the inside. It's not the same thing. It can be the same ingredients, but if you cook them differently, then they're different. It's a different food.
Put them in an oven. It's the same. It's just
no. Okay.
You don't put a calzone in the oven? No,
but it's the way it's exposed to heat is different. Look, I'm literally reading a book about the chemistry of making bread, and in it includes stuff on pizza. This is scientific.
It's an open face sandwich.
You know what's messed up? I think the worst pizza, not the worst pizza, but like I went to Italy and I had pizza and it was just fine. It wasn't good. I mean, no, this is fine.
What pizza were you having? Because I had Italian pizza and it was good.
It was fine.
Did you have it in Italy?
Yeah.
Huh?
Were you in Italy when you had it?
Yeah.
I have heard from people that I have never been to Italy. I've been close to Italy, but not to Italy. But because of my day job, I have coworkers that go to Italy with some frequency. And I have been told that pizza in Italy is not really like pizza was kind of more the science of pizza was advanced by Italian Americans more so than it actually happened.
Pizza is a new world invention because of the tomato.
Yeah, like the margarita pizza in Italy, classic. But a New York slice of pizza, so much better.
I would say, Andre, that it doesn't probably help that you had Papa John's while you were in Italy.
I don't know. I haven't been to Italy, so I'm willing to.
I had a calzone and I had pizza in Italy. Both. Man,
different food items.
At least we've gotten past them being different food items.
I am not like a pizza is the best food ever. In my opinion, if a pizza has less than 3 ingredients, it's garbage. It's why waste your time with that? It's not even food.
What pizza has less than 3 ingredients?
Well, less than 3 toppings. Excuse me.
Right.
Okay. See, I
sorry, go for it, Allison.
I feel like there's something like beautiful about like a very simple pizza. Like toppings are good, but there is something like if you could make a really, really good pizza that has very few toppings or even just like no toppings, it's still very good.
I'm going to let Alex finish the thought. Do multiple kinds of cheese count as toppings?
No.
Okay, then I don't want any toppings on my pizza. Load that fucker up with cheese. It is good to go. Putting toppings on the pizza, you're just ruining it.
What's everyone's pizza order?
Okay, so if I order it from
literally put anything you can on top of that motherfucker, I'll eat it. I want like 20 toppings.
Okay, so if I order it from like
give me a mess.
Like just standard, like if I order it from like a Pizza Hut, it's regular bacon, not Canadian bacon, but regular bacon and pineapple.
What a snub, Alex.
Pardon?
You just got snubbed. Not Canadian bacon.
The Canadian bacon's not very good.
Oh, damn.
It's
and
not
also
Canadian bacon ham.
Yeah, and it's also not very good.
All right.
I will say there is one exception to my statement. Barbecue chicken pizza with red onion. That's okay.
Oh, that's good.
Anything else needs more than 3 toppings.
Yeah.
No.
But I got 2 things for you. 1, pineapple belongs on pizza. 2,
nope.
Pizza belong on pineapple.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like,
why not?
I don't know if it deserves it because like pineapple's the best. But the other thing, I had a calzone in Italy and then I didn't poop for 3 days. And then when I finally did poop, it was on a train and that train's bathroom was not happy.
When you say like poops on a train, it sounded like you were like on the roof. Like
it was the Final Fantasy VIII train heist mini game, but it's him pooping on top of the train.
Top of the squat on top of this train.
He's got
all right, so my pizza order, it's a barbecue base, of course, extra cheese, extra sweet corn, extra jalapenos, and extra pineapple.
Word.
Jalapenos on pizza, real good.
Yeah.
What kinds of cheese does the pizza place have?
Yes.
Because it's all of those kinds of cheeses and
blended usually. The pizza place that I get my pizza from has a blend.
The only cheese that I don't want on it is blue cheese, but I respect it as a
blue
person.
cheese is so good.
Whoa,
blue cheese on anything.
Let me finish. I don't like blue cheese.
No.
I get why other people do.
Blue cheese doesn't like you.
You could agreed. We have a mutual disagreement. I think it's a good cheese. I think it is artisanal cheese, and I celebrate anyone who enjoys blue cheese. It's just not for me.
So there is
Alex's slow wheel away was extremely funny.
No, I do not respect putting pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
Blue cheese.
It's great
on anything.
Like,
do it. It's good, but I just don't like it myself. It makes me a little uncomfy.
My new favorite
my new favorite cheese
pizza is pineapple and blue cheese.
Oh,
Because it would destroy Pat.
Yeah, that's a logical fallacy.
If you there's a pizza place near my office, and they do a pizza that I love, which is blue cheese, poached pears, walnuts, spinach, and ranch dressing.
No.
Oh,
What?
It's so good.
Ranch dressing is a fine pizza. I wouldn't say topping. That's a dip. That's a dip.
No, it's a drizzle. It's more of a drizzle.
That's fine.
So
I guess a finish.
I was going to bring up this pizza place in my hometown, but it is apparently closed now. It's called the Pizza Research Institute, and they just did like the most buck wild pizza you could imagine. They had like buffalo tofu pizza. They had like a pear and blue cheese pizza.
Yep.
They just I don't know. They just took whatever they had and like, hey, it's a pizza now.
Put some walnuts on there, and then Sam is happy.
Yeah. And some
it was all vegetarian or vegan. Vegetarian and vegan pizza.
We had a funny. I will tell this anecdote, and then we can end this podcast. Unless do we have other game stuff to talk about?
Yeah, we
talk
do.
about. Alex has a whole.
Forget it. I'm not telling the story. Then if Alex has a whole list of stuff, we need to move on for pizza and not return.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to go eat pizza.
Is there,
this is a good story, so everyone should.
What stat in Disco Elysium would help you make pizza, Alex?
Definitely logic, because pizza is logically the best.
I disagree, but okay.
A reason? I don't know.
Because there's better food.
I feel like
we just had this.
Okay, we can't go further into pizza, but I feel like
we gotta move on.
Okay, but like there's so
we'll
many
do a
different
pizza
kinds.
cast. We'll do a pizza cast later, but we gotta move on.
Pizza Fyx.
So yeah,
Coming to you.
I have started Disco Elysium. I'm not very far in it. I have not.
I also started that this week.
Yeah, I am about an hour and a half in. Like I have not had that much game time, but finally starting this week, I will have lots of game time. But yeah, Disco Elysium. It is a RPG from. How do you pronounce the developer's name?
I don't know.
Because it's got a slash in it, man. Like it's Zaum or Zaum or I don't know.
I've
like ZA/UM.
Yeah,
I've seen Zaum said online.
Yeah, so pizza, because these guys made their game, which is very reminiscent of Planescape, Planescape Torment, and it is a CRPG. You're controlling this dude by clicking around this area, and you're interacting with things and then doing a whole lot of dialogue choices that seem to branch pretty wildly depending on what you choose.
Can you remind me? So I played Planescape Torment a very long time ago, and I loved that game. I thought there was combat in that game.
There is,
and it's like Baldur's Gate style, like Infinity Engine combat, where you're like pausing and clicking and using spells and stuff. Or am I misremembering?
That sounds correct to me. It's also probably been like nearly 20 years since I've played it.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years for me, but yeah. Okay. That makes sense then. Because I was like, people are comparing it to Planescape, which certainly in terms of like the exploration and dialogue, it totally is. But the branch to me is I don't think Disco Elysium has any mechanical combat.
Not thus far. Not in the first hour and a half. I don't know about later.
Yeah.
But
My understanding is like all the combat is like, you get in a situation where you have, you pick a dialogue choice to draw your gun, and then you pick a dialogue choice to shoot your gun, and then it rolls dice, and then, but you continue with the premise. I don't want to derail you.
Yeah. So like, you're clicking around, you're moving places. It's one of those kinds of games. And then when you're interacting with something, like one of the very first interactions you can have is with a mirror, which is all fogged up, and you have many choices. You're like, look at the mirror, contemplate existence, and like the mirror's fogged, and it's like, all right, well, you can choose to wipe that fog away, or there's like an intelligence check to like think like, oh, what are the ramifications of doing this and stuff. Like there's a whole lot of stuff that you can do. There's a neat little detail where if you don't wipe the mirror, then your character doesn't know what he looks like. So in the bottom left corner, there's always a portrait of your guy and your partner eventually. Spoilers, not really a spoiler. It's the first like 20 minutes, but and that portrait is always just blurry. Like you don't actually know what you look like, and it's pretty funny. But it's really interesting because it does the thing that I really didn't like in the Outer Worlds was just how it seemed like your dialogue choices didn't actually matter. And like, no, like I experimented with this and went back and like made a save point before some like seemingly branching dialogue choices and stuff like that. And they always just funneled right back to being the exact same thing, which was pretty frustrating for me. I was like, okay, well, this is, you know, it's not that dynamic. It's not that interesting. But Disco Elysium, it feels like every dialogue choice you're making is really fucking with things. Like it's really pulling you down different paths and just like setting you on completely different tangents, which is really interesting. Like the overall flow of everything is always going to be the same, but yeah, like those tangents they're unique, and I'm super into that. So it does feel like a very wide game. So if you're into that kind of thing, totally recommend it. I won't get too deep into it just because, like I said, I'm only an hour and a half in. It's like a 20 or 30 hour game, somewhere around there. And I'll probably have more to say about it once closer to the end. I don't know.
Yeah,
about
I've heard, depending on like how much stuff you do, that it can be pretty long. But also part of it is it does kind of have a set amount of time. I'm not sure. Maybe you noticed time passes. I don't know if it's passing as you do actions.
When you speak to people.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's when you speak to people.
Got it.
So
that
like,
makes sense.
So like if you think of it like a Mass Effect conversation where at the very start you have like your what was it called, like investigate or whatever, like you could go down one path and then like have options to learn more about something. The more of those paths you do, the more time is actually spent in game. So like every one of those you do, it'll pass 1 minute or something, and then you'll have quests that are like, oh, talk to this guy after 10 p.m. or something like that. So like in-game time actually does matter.
Yeah, but it is, the way it's moving is like that. So it is limited to a certain number of like days, basically. Like it takes place over a certain amount of time. I think
sorry, please go for it.
It's really cool, and I like the way that so far when I played it at PAX, the writing was not as tight. It is much what I've played so far, but I'm still in like the first building, I guess, about to leave it. And what I have played of it is the writing is much better. And like one thing that's not a spoiler to say, because it's like how the game opens, you're constantly getting feedback from your self, from your brain in different spaces. The thing that I thought was the most impressive was the way it like talks about like doing, like the way your body controls you and stuff is really cool.
Yeah. There's some kind of like electrical storm going on in the background now, but yeah, it has been really fascinating. I'm super interested in seeing where it goes. It's been fun to interact with, and yeah, like there was a fairly early interaction where you're talking with this pretty stoic dude, and at some point I don't remember how I got there, but at some point I ended up getting my character say like, yeah, I'm a hardcore feminist. Like like you're talking about this way, and you're talking about this woman in a shitty way, and I'm not fine with that. I am a feminist. Why do you do this? And then after that, you get this trait that's like, okay, for the next 5 hours, if you're talking to men, like you have more reasoning with them and stuff like that. Like it's kind of interesting.
I saw one, like there's an achievement. If you, it's like the most pathetic centrist. And it's if you like speak like super liberally, or like, you know, or like progressively, like socialist ideas and whatever, but then all your actions are like the most bootlicker corporate, like supporting stuff you can do. So if you try to walk the middle or whatever, it's just like, man, you suck.
Yeah. It does seem like it's tracking a lot of stats, which again, it's really cool. Looking forward to getting deeper into it.
Question. Would you recommend for people to buy it? By people, I mean me. I mean other people too.
You mean,
would
like,
you recommend for human person to purchase this game?
Like you mean like just based on what I've played so far? I would say yeah. It seems really interesting. I intend to finish it, and also right now on Steam with the autumn sale, it is 20% off.
That's what I was thinking about. But yeah, but also just not just for me, but also for any listeners. Do you think it's something that people should pick up, or?
I think I would say yes so far, but again, I'm only an hour and a half in. I don't know how it holds up for the next 15 to 20 hours, but I'm enjoying it so far.
All right. Well, we got a little bit of news to get through. I think our pizza talk took up a lot of time. But so Stadia continues to
impress.
To impress, to
bewilder,
to be kind of a mess. Sam was the only person who had any interest, and he ended up canceling his pre-order, partially due to some technical stuff on Google's end, but also
thankfully
looking at their choices. There are a couple things this week. The big one is it came out that games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Destiny 2 were, while displaying at 4K, were playing at like kind of medium settings on PC, if that, with like some filters off and like, all this kind of stuff, where like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X would look better than the Stadia version. Not to mention like a PC would just blow it out of the water. And Google came out saying, it's the devs, man. I don't know. They've got the hardware. They're just.
It was more than that.
Here's a bus. Let's throw people under it.
It's more than that. The day before the Stadia launched, there's a quote from Phil Harrison. I have it here. He says, "Yes, all games that launch support 4K. We designed Stadia to enable 4K 60. All games to play 4K 60, blah, 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 blah."
They play and they stream in 4K.
Yeah, but the thing about Red Dead 2 in particular is that at highest it renders at 1440p and it's being upscaled.
Oh, yeah. It streams in 4K.
Yeah,
but
technically. But
it's not rendering at 4K. Neither is Destiny.
So, yeah, you're right. But because I have quotes here, I'll just continue to quote what they ended up actually saying. Google's response to people saying like, "Hey, so you guys promised actual native 4K with better quality settings than we would have had at home," because they had that whole we got 10 point whatever teraflops, and that's more than PS4 and Xbox combined.
It's a lot of teraflops.
Yeah, it's like, wow, so we have the most processing power ever. You can, developers should love this. And their quote, obviously that didn't pan out. And their quote just a couple days ago was, "We give developers the freedom of how to achieve the best image quality and frame rate on Stadia, and we are impressed with what they have been able to achieve for day one. We expect that many developers can, and in most cases will continue to improve their games on Stadia." And it goes on. Basically what they didn't say anything about their hardware. They didn't say anything about the problems they over promising, under delivering. They're just like, "Oh yeah, the developers haven't been doing it properly."
Here's this bus. Would you like to be under it, developers? Well, too bad.
I wonder how much money Google is giving to developers on incentivizing them to develop on stuff like Destiny 2. I saw player numbers. I don't know how accurate these are, but it was hundreds of thousands on the PC and the PS4, and then maybe 100,000 less on the Xbox, and then 20,000 or less than 20,000 on Stadia. And it just came out. It's a limited release, but with such a small audience and probably people who are already playing Destiny somewhere else.
Well, it's not only that. It's
what is their incentive to make that? To make that stream in 4K.
The thing is that this audience in particular is the audience you want to showcase that stuff to, because these are the people that are buying in with the early launch, buying $130 worth of equipment just to get in, and also paying another $60 for a game they probably already own.
And so then if they're going, for Destiny, it comes you get it with
that's true. For Destiny in particular, you're right. But let's say Red Dead, but for like another thing is like these are also like the highest end consumers you're probably going to have that will have the connection for 4K, because like that shit is expensive in terms of just bandwidth. Like I was reading it can use upwards of like 5 gigs an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's like 50 hours of just Stadia, and you can burn through your bandwidth cap if you have one of those, like a terabyte bandwidth cap.
Yeah, like it's nuts. So the like Google over promising and under delivering is just a super bummer, especially to that audience.
Yeah, because if they're not, basically when it comes time for people, when it becomes more freely available and people are going, oh, should I buy like this on Stadia? And they're going to go, no, don't do it. So the people they need to get on board are seemingly the loud ones are not happy. The loud ones never are happy, but I wonder what the customer satisfaction rate with Stadia is currently.
I can't imagine it's very
probably not great.
Yeah.
There are some people who really enjoy it, and I think, but they're like not the market that Google's going for. Like people who travel, like Dave Lang, Rami Ismail, really enjoy it because they travel a lot, and that's just an easy way for them to, play games.
I mean, like the technology works. I think that's always been the case, is that like the streaming and input and all that stuff works. It's just that it's not exactly what they promised. And it sounds like the way they're handling it from a PR standpoint is pretty shitty. And like in contrast, there's a video that Jessica Condit from Engadget put out yesterday. That's real world comparison of Stadia versus xCloud, and basically what she says is, yeah, like Stadia, it performs pretty well. Like it feels like the control latency is fine, but like, yeah, it's not 4K. It drops and the quality doesn't look great. But xCloud is streaming in at 720, so it doesn't look quite as good. The controller latency was a little bit higher. So like she was finding that, like sometimes if she was playing something that's more Twitch based or like, fighting game or like a platformer that requires tight timing, it wasn't quite as responsive. But the thing is, Microsoft hasn't been making those crazy promises. Like they haven't been saying, oh yeah, this is going to be 4K right now. They're like, no, we're rolling this out as a beta to get people's feedback at 720. And like, we're getting all this stuff so we can eventually ramp up. They're not making big promises, and like they have a bigger library. All these games are free right now. So like the actual real world use case of xCloud right now is more appealing than Stadia, even if it's not as high, like, high fidelity and all that. And also runs on more devices.
Right now xCloud is only on phones.
Yeah, so. But it runs on like all the phones instead of just the Pixel.
Android phones. It's not on iOS currently, but it's who knows. Rest in peace, Inbox. I'll never forgive Google. And
Google
Stadia
Hangouts
will join it.
Duo.
Wave. It's Stadia. It's a product for now.
It's a Stadia.
It might be the future, but it isn't there yet.
Yeah.
It's also funny for something called Stadia that they don't have like a real marquee competitive, like, let's get people to use the streaming feature to play this thing. Like I know MK is on there, but it's still weird to me. That doesn't seem like the thing. It seems like I'm surprised it didn't launch with like Modern Warfare or something like that.
Yeah, it feels, and then the game that they're giving out, like Destiny 2, I'm like, lots, like I feel like
it's been free.
Right. Like most people who want Destiny 2 have Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So there's nothing where I'm like, oh, I might as well, give it a shot. Like the incentive isn't there.
I think they might have been counting on that with Doom Eternal, so that delay might have hurt them, but
that's possible.
But yeah, I do agree.
That like Doom 2016 runs like super well on pretty much anything. I don't know what the Switch one is like, but like on PC,
it runs really well.
So like I imagine that would have scaled pretty well to Stadia, and it sounds like it when people like tried it on the demos, it was good. But that's hopefully they figure their stuff out, and it can be a good thing for devs. But for now, it remains. We'll see.
We'll see how long they keep supporting it.
Yeah. And in other news, speaking of things that need support, Tony Hawk wants to make another skating game. Maybe, I don't know. Supposedly there's another Tony Hawk game or two in the works.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good. They're good.
Yeah,
I mean, the new ones are good.
Yeah, it's really unclear. Like, it was basically, what's the dude, or Lizzie?
I have no idea.
Lizzie Armando, I think.
Saying, oh yeah, I'm in that next Tony Hawk game.
Yeah, they were on a podcast and basically casually like, yeah, they're working on a Tony Hawk game. I'm in it. And it's like, oh, okay.
But there hasn't been a good Tony Hawk game in since
10 years.
More than that? I don't know. When was I liked American Wasteland. I played a lot of American Wasteland.
I liked Project 8.
I don't think I played that one, but so they did on this generation of consoles, they have not done Tony Hawk justice. They did that remaster or remake of 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And then now there's a rumor that they're doing another remaster of 1 and 2 or 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And then also there's a new game Tony Hawk Pro Skater 6 or some other name. And what do we want from a Tony Hawk game in 2020?
I don't want one. There's other better games to play than Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with what was that game you were playing, Pat? Session?
Yes, I played a bit of Session. I kind of did what there is to do in that. It's an alpha right now,
I think between Session becoming popular and the Skate series far overcoming what Tony Hawk was, I think they can keep it arcadey, but they need a bit more of that realism, probably. And or maybe they go the Skatebird route and just make something real fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that's always an option.
I have a controversial opinion. I mean, the Skatebird developer is awesome, and the game, the concept is very awesome. I see a lot of gameplay footage of it on my timeline. I hope that game is good beyond it just being a meme, because watching it being played, it looks like it's mostly a meme with some physics stuff going on. It doesn't really look like a skateboarding game, which is fine if it's not, and if it's more.
You've just described half the indie industry.
Yeah, I guess that's.
I mean, also it's just it's not out yet, and there's no demo out yet, so it's just devs testing it out.
Yeah, I know. Yes. I'm just saying, I think the gameplay footage that is out there looks pretty bad from a playability perspective. The bird is amazing though, and I love the aesthetic of the environments. So hopefully there is a big push towards the physics end of it, because I would like that game to be fun.
I think for Tony Hawk though, I think what I would love is if they go back to being weird. And they have Spider-Man and Darth Maul and all that shit, and Shrek that they had in the previous games.
So that's why
Shrek
I want Skatebird to
Tony
be good.
Hawk game.
Yeah, Shrek was in Underground or Underground 2. I can't remember.
Wow, I don't remember that. I like the idea of you skating around as Tony Hawk and people being like, "Oh man, you look like Tony Hawk."
That would be funny.
Yeah, getting stopped at airports, being like, "You look a lot like this guy I've seen."
If they do a remaster and they do the airport level, and there's an airport level, right?
Yeah,
I'm not making that up. Yeah, if they do a remaster and there's an airport level, it should just be TS. I don't know. It's in one of them.
I think it should be.
They should do 1, 2, 3, 4, because those games are all similar enough and they build on each other. But to have TSA people "Are you Tony Hawk?" Or why? Do a kickflip. Yeah.
Anthony.
Tony Hawk seems like a good guy.
Yes.
Yeah, his Twitter's pretty good.
It's
Him
great.
hanging out with Jack Black is very nice, and
He shares some
good.
cool like videos of like, hey, we did this charity thing, and it's like a 10-minute long skate video that's really cool, and they raised like $1 million for someone, and yeah.
There was some video of him driving around in a car yelling at people to do kickflips, and then when if they did it, he would give them like free merch.
That's great.
awesome.
Yeah, people. He's just like yelling at people on the side of the street, and they're like, "What the fuck? Is that Tony Hawk?"
The thing about Tony Hawk is, if you have not been following him for like the past 10 years, he's old now.
Yeah,
And people,
he is.
It's jarring if you're not
It's wild to watch him skate because he isn't much. It is much different.
Yeah.
Watching him skate now.
One of my favorite tweets of his was he said that he did that exact thing where he was skating around a park, like not one near his house or anything, just at a skate park, and some kid went, "Hey, do a kickflip," and he just did one, and the kid was like, "Oh my god, he's so good, like Tony Hawk."
I asked.
And they were just like, "He actually did it."
One of my students is really into skateboarding,
Awesome.
and we were we were talking about like he had to do like a speech on what he wants to be, and he said he wants to be an athlete, and I was like, oh, you like skateboarding? Okay, the question I'll ask him for like the test is, do you like Tony Hawk? And he's like, no, I hate Tony Hawk.
and then he proceeded to explode a milk container all over the walls.
Yeah,
He just did the 900.
Oh my god, that kid. He did a 1080.
Wow.
Just to show up Tony Hawk.
Impressive.
I don't know why he doesn't like Tony Hawk. I tried to get that out of him, but he would not elaborate.
That's fantastic.
But
Do you think that Tony Hawk was like, if only I could do an extra 100, I'd do 1,000?
Someone did
He'd
it.
only have to do an extra 20, and then he'd do 1,000.
The physics.
No, it's 100. He did a 900, not 980.
The physics require a much bigger ramp.
Yeah.
So, but
It
someone,
only-
I'm pretty sure I saw that someone did do a 1080.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, someone.
Yeah.
It has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Relatively
on a regulation skate ramp, wasn't Tony Hawk like the only person to ever do a 900?
I think so.
Other
Like,
people
on
have
a-
done it since,
yeah.
but he was
like on a normal
like
ass
the pioneer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that that was just his thing. Everyone else is like, I'm going to do this Christ air, kickflip, Benihana, like 6 tricks in before landing on the ground. And Tony's like, I'm going to spin.
Yeah. There's a mini documentary on it on YouTube, and it's actually really interesting.
Yeah, he did like a whole video on.
Like the
He's done
physics
multiple
and-
videos on that. Yeah.
It's really cool. But is your student more of a Rodney Mullen guy?
I don't know. I didn't get that far.
Rondi Mullen?
Rodney.
Rodney Mullen.
It's Rodney.
I thought you said Rondi Mullen,
No.
which is very funny to me.
Rodney would be
More
pretty
like,
good though.
more like Randy Mullen.
Hey, what?
Hey, what?
Is he cranking it?
You know what's cranking it? This Dota patch. It's cranking out the items.
We can't talk about Dota.
We can't.
We can't talk about Dota. We have
But
to end
it's
the podcast.
it's a really good patch. But
This-
yeah, it's-
that sounds real wild. 62
Yes.
new items. They got rid of the side shop. Who knew? My
secret
God.
shop. Yeah.
Secret shop.
No, they got rid of the side shops.
Oh, is it? I thought they got rid
Yes,
of the secret
it is
shop.
not the secret
my
shop.
bad.
A lot of people are saying it's the secret shop. A lot of people are wrong. It's the side shops. There's
Yeah.
now posts in either lane where the side shops were.
But okay, we don't have to talk about it long, but I love that couriers can use items now because that means you can just send a courier places with a dag on and just zap people.
It's weird. That's
And
another
then,
thing. I
like,
don't have the micro for
BKB.
that.
Yeah,
you
could BKB your
so they-
courier. I don't know why you would, but
But
You
so
need
they
to
don't
bring
get
you-
killed.
yeah, that's
You needed
fair.
to bring you a knife at the very end of the
And
last.
then it can blink.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Anyway,
I guess you could. Anyways,
there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot to unpack, and we.
It's
don't
going to be
have
fun
time
to
for
watch pro players deal with it. I don't think I can deal with the micro of couriers using items. That's too much for
I
me.
already have a hard time like watching Dota. Like I don't follow it at all. So
Same.
watching it is just like I can't tell what's going on here.
Watching
I know,
it would be
like I know like 3 champions, and then like now they're making it even more
They're
complicated.
called
with
heroes.
it. I wasn't going to say anything.
It doesn't. It's same
With a foot in both games, they're called heroes.
It doesn't
In
matter.
order to be a hero, you've got to win something.
They're both lords,
Champion.
but only
Wait, I thought we were talking about Dota, not Heroes of the Storm.
God. Okay.
And no, we
I
aren't
can't do
talking about
this.
a good MOBA.
Well,
What?
that is gonna do it for episode 98 of Gaming Fyx.
New game of the year category, best MOBA.
We're glad to have
Smite.
Todd Howard's
Death
father
Stranding.
back.
I'd vote. That's fine.
Death Stranding, best MOBA.
Lots of
Glad,
creeps in
glad
there.
to have Todd Howard's dad back.
Glad to have Todd Howard's dad back on the podcast.
Dad Howard.
Dad Howard. Where can people find you?
It's awake very early in the morning in bed playing Pokemon.
Okay. Pat, where can people find you?
I don't have a clever one, so you can find me. You know what? You know where you can find me? You can find me swinging through the jungles of Kashyyyk for the 12th time to get a fucking Stormtrooper helmet scan so I can learn about the way a Wookiee mourned his enemy. That's where you can find me.
Okay. Allison, where can people find you?
Find me on the Twitter at WRITERSERENYTY. Maybe I'll have a shiny Wooloo. We'll see.
Okay, Alex,
I'm
where
sure
can people
we'll
find
hear
you?
about it on Twitter.
Oh yeah, everyone will hear about it. You can find me pooping on trains in Italy.
Great. You can find me on Twitter at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W. I'm going to try and get a review of Jedi Fallen Order written tomorrow. I've already started. I just need to finish it and get some screenshots, all that stuff. You can follow us on, I'll review that too. I've got the screenshots for that. I just got, oh man, where to start?
Monster Energy
cans.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Monster
starring AMC's.
I got to a point in the game where they replaced the Monster Energy cans.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, you can get beer.
Huge spoiler.
I'm sorry. I did upgrade my canteen though, so I got level 2 Monster.
Great.
I've had a Monster Energy drink today.
I've never.
I don't know. I haven't had a Monster since high school, maybe.
I wasn't around when I was in high school.
Anyway, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Fyx Podcasts, right?
Yes, and you should.
I don't.
Great.
And go to Fyx.space. You can email us feedback like, hey, you should know your Twitter handle to gaming@Fyx.space. And maybe we'll read your feedback and or question on.
We definitely will if you send us an email.
Yeah, seriously, we 100% will.
Yeah.
Don't sound too desperate, guys. Come on.
Okay.
Email us your thoughts on.
Email us whatever you want.
Email us
Send
your thoughts
me a shiny
on,
Wooloo over Pokemon Sword.
Give us your thoughts on Watchmen episode 6 via email.
Yeah.
And
best episode of television.
And just I'd like to leave us all with this gentle reminder that Waluigi died for our sins.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And you know, 'tis the season to remember and celebrate him.
I'm gonna go pay my penance.
'Tis the season to Waluigi.
And are you paying it to Wario?
No, Luigi.
No.
Wow.
I mean, Wario's a libertarian, and I think
I don't know.
He loves gold. I think he'd be trying to capitalize.
I tried to say something funny at the end of the show that still hasn't ended.
Will it?
It ends
Will
whenever
it
you
ever?
want it to, Sam. Sam.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Samantha America Strand.